Welcome everybody to the Nebraska State Rehabilitation Council, or SRC as we call it, panel discussion, opportunities to find, develop, and retain employees in a challenging labor market. My name is Mike Bursaw, and I'm currently the chairperson of the SRC, as well as a director of human resources with West Pharmaceutical Services based out of Kearney. It was in this role at West where I was first exposed to Nebraska VR. Business account manager stopped in one day and asked to talk to me about opportunities VR had where they could help me in finding team members for my site. It was during this discussion that I learned a lot, not only about VR helping find labor for my site, but helping individuals with disabilities in my community find great employment. Over the next few years, the site hired numerous individuals referred from VR and partner agencies. And I did site tours with VR staff, local schools, and all highlighting the opportunities at our manufacturing site. Then I was approached with information about a way for me to help my team members gain new skills and training, not only to become more valuable for our business, but also gain skills to advance in their careers and make a better living. We see survey after survey in the HR world that highlights team members' value, their employer investing in them. And today we're going to learn a little bit about some of those type of opportunities. Now let's talk about a unique opportunity for businesses and individuals with disabilities. To catch everybody up, in October of 2021, the U.S. Department of Education's Rehabilitation Services Administration has additionally funded Nebraska VR's Career Pathway Advancement Project, CPAP, through September 30th of 2026 with about $8.5 million grant award. And this is the second CPAP grant Nebraska has received. I'd like to introduce the Nebraska VR Program Director of Special Projects, Janet Drudick, to tell us a little bit about the first grant that ended in June of 2021.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm so glad to be here to highlight the grant and the work we're doing. We use the upskill backfill model to promote economic self-sufficiency for individuals with disabilities while helping businesses with their workforce needs. What happens is business refer incumbent workers who have an impairment to CPAP staff, and then the employee, business, and CPAP staff meet to determine how the individual can advance within that business. Training opportunities are explored and a decision made what is the best path for advancement. This may be through a traditional training program or through training on the work site. This provides an opportunity for workers to gain additional skills for the company, while some or all training costs are paid by CPAP. Once training has been completed and the incumbent workers advance, then the CPAP staff helps the business fill the vacant position by backfilling with someone who wants to enter that career field or occupation, therefore advancing the incumbent workers and bringing new staff to the business to assist in filling their vacant positions.
So what is the intended benefit to the business?
The intended benefit for business is to help retain key talent, to cultivate a workforce development, and to improve the morale of existing incumbent workers, because we're of course advancing their current employers. So we're able to advance those employees.
Yeah, can you drill down a little bit and tell us about some of the benefits you saw in the first grant cycle to businesses?
Yeah, I would be really happy to do that. The grant wasn't originally written to advance incumbent workers referred by business. However, in the third year of the grant, the opportunities were offered to businesses to advance their incumbent workers. 18 businesses referred incumbent workers, with a total of 35 incumbent workers with disabilities referred. Referring businesses were from the cities of Hastings, Kearney, Madison, Blair, Holdridge, Grand Island, Omaha, Beaver City, and York. So you can see it was across Nebraska. The total savings of training costs to these 18 businesses were right at $133,000. We anticipate, though, during this next grant cycle, since it is the primary objective of the grant to get referrals from businesses, that we will see a number of more businesses being involved in this, because this will be going on for the next 5 years.
Janet, what specific type of training did incumbent workers or team members receive that saved these businesses over $133,000?
Well, people have the option of being provided all sorts of training, but these were the ones that you mentioned that saved the companies 133,000. They had training as machinist. They had training in CDL, which of course is our truck drivers, which we all know there's a desperate need for truck drivers right now. Maintenance certifications, certification and degrees for management and supervisors, food safety certifications we found there was a real need for, auto body degrees and certifications. We also worked closely with electrical apprentice to get their licenses, and also assisted. We find that sometimes people have difficulty getting their electrical journeyman's license, so we provided training for that so they could pass their state exams. We also did certifications for computer programming, engineering degrees, as well as welding certifications. So it's a broad area that we cover.
This also has a benefit to the self-sufficiency of clients or individuals with disabilities. Can you give us a little bit of statistics on some of that benefit for them?
The average weekly wage increased from $449.87 for clients when they came into the program, and when they left the program, it was $872.09, being an increase of $424 weekly. And who doesn't want $420 more in their pocket every week? The median weekly wage increased from $490 to $776, allowing for a $346 increase per week. Also, those same clients, the number of individual benefits increased because we looked at if people were receiving vacation, sick leave, medical, health, or retirement. And benefits increased from 1.57 benefits for a person coming in to leaving with 3.52 benefits, a change of 1.95 benefits per individual. Many of the individuals came in with sick leave and vacation leave, but they did not have that health insurance and retirement, and we all know how important that is. So many of them increased those benefits to get that health insurance and retirement benefits.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about CPAP 2.0. So what businesses, careers, and sectors are we targeting with that, or are we going to focus on?
Yes, I'm glad we're going to talk about this new grant because it is, we're excited that we were able to get a second round of grants with some more of a robust work plan with the second year. The grant we're targeting, this is for the same industries we did the first time, which was construction, healthcare, manufacturing, and transportation, distribution, and logistics. But we're also targeting, we felt it was important to target for individuals in entry-level positions that may not be earning a substantial wage to provide for economic self-sufficiency. So the goal is through training, individuals can advance within these career pathways or other career pathways that they're choosing. And those 4 career pathways are administrative support, lodging, restaurant and food beverage services, and occupations like cashier and telemarketer. And those fall under the sales, which you may not often think of, but the sales career pathway. So we want to really make sure those individuals with some, maybe starting out at lower wages, are continuing to move up within that career pathway or choosing a career pathway where they can be economically self-sufficient.
Janet, I know when I partnered with VR with the first CPAP grant, we were able to offset a lot of the initial training costs for new hires of individuals who have disabilities, which is a big expense for our business and most businesses, right? Turnover is expensive, and a big part of that expense is with that training. Once an individual has been qualified for the program, what type of credentials can be obtained through the CPAP program?
Yeah, Michael, we appreciate our partnership with you over the last 5 years with the original grant and look forward to it next 5 years. But individuals can obtain on-the-job training. They can be provided industrial specific certifications, post-secondary training such as diplomas, associate degrees, bachelor's, master's, and even a PhD. If it's on-the-job training and helping just like you mentioned, Mike, people coming into the business, new hires, the grant can pay for the business to train the person within the company by having another employee in the company train the new or existing staff, and then pay for some of those costs. Of the total clients served through the grant during the previous 5 years, 48% of the employees chose to pursue short-term industry-specific training. The reason often being, with work and family commitments, it wasn't as feasible to pursue longer-term post-secondary training when individuals are working full-time. It's difficult for them. We work closely with businesses and employees to determine their needs for training and consider online courses when necessary, especially when work schedules didn't allow for a long commute for training. And as many as you know, it's even worse, I feel like, in the rural areas, because there's not a lot of training opportunities right nearby, and especially if people are working all day long and then needing to drive to training. So those online courses and the support our CPAP staff gave to businesses and to clients and employees to help them identify those opportunities for advancement.
For the benefit of businesses that maybe new with working with Nebraska VR and hiring individuals with disabilities, can you share some of the things that you've heard from businesses in your initial meetings, and what insight can you share about that?
Yeah, that's interesting. At first, businesses had concerns regarding individuals with disabilities being able to perform the work. Duties required, and because of the duties required for their industry. This is an obstacle we really need to overcome, because when businesses think of individuals with disabilities, they often think of someone that has a disability that can be seen, someone in a wheelchair, someone with a white cane. But studies vary, but here are some statistics. 1 in 4 Americans experience a disability. 80% of those that experience, 80% of those disabilities are hidden disabilities. So here are some examples of hidden disabilities: diabetes, hearing or visual impairments, traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, chronic pain, cancer, lupus, Crohn's disease, mental illness are all those. So you think of the number of people you even may personally know that have those disabilities, but you would not know that when you're working with someone in a business, that those are even being an issue for them. Our job is to match people's skills and abilities with what the work duties are. In fact, when CPAP staff were working with businesses, the reaction we heard from so many businesses were, we had no idea VR and CPAP serve the individuals you do. In fact, one HR director indicated, I wouldn't indicate our employees have disabilities, but rather challenges. It was suggested additional communication is needed on what it means to experience a challenge or barrier. While advancing employees who were already working at the business, supervisors and HR staff soon realized they already had staff who experienced disabilities who are performing their job duties with no difficulties. And these were often employers who had said, I don't think people with disabilities can do our job, but then realized they had them working in the company that they're already working in the company.
That's amazing. I know at my company, we did a self-ID campaign, and through that campaign had almost 7-fold the number of individuals identified with disabilities. And again, many of them fully doing the job for many, many years, and we had no idea that they would qualify for programs like the CPAP. How do you market the CPAP program to incumbent workers within companies?
To incumbent workers, yeah, just to go back there too, Michael, the great thing about that is, as you know, with federal contracts and things like that, if we can get people to self-disclose that information, that's available for a lot of things you can do with 503 compliance and things like that. So what a great thing that they were able to disclose to you. We market to incumbent workers. Is up to each company how they would like to market the opportunity with their incumbent workers. In the past, the VR marketing team has worked in conjunction with the business to develop specific marketing flyers to share with their staff about the CPAP opportunities. Businesses have asked CPAP staff to attend and speak with staff at department meetings. They provide posters for break rooms. For one company, they gave each person a flyer about the CPAP grant in their paycheck stub. We have met with different shift work people that, at 5:30 in the morning, at noon, at 5:30 at night, whatever it is, to meet with people in their department head so that we can meet each shift. The flyers we provide indicate to employees to speak to their HR departments or their supervisor if they want to learn more about the CPAP advancement opportunity. It just didn't indicate you must have a disability, but to apply and outline some of the characteristics that may make the employer eligible for CPAP and VR services. I won't review the entire list, but some of the items that you might want to consider, like, again, instead of saying do you have a disability, do you have difficulty learning work skills? Or do you have difficulty learning in a classroom? Or maybe you're seeing a counselor for therapy and or medication, or difficulty maintaining a job, or maybe problems with lifting or carrying or standing or sitting, using your arms or hands or whatever. Or another one is difficulty with organization, maybe forgetting appointments, or maybe you see that one of your employees are having difficulty multitasking. Then that's a great time to reach out to Nebraska VR or the CPAP grant to either talk about services for that client or advancement to that for that employee.
I would imagine there are times where individuals need an accommodation. How do you work with businesses regarding these accommodations for clients?
We provide resources and information to businesses regarding accommodations that can be made for the client. We have very few individuals who need accommodations on the job, but we work closely with the Assistive Technology Partnership in the state of Nebraska. CPAP staff can also provide businesses with disability awareness, disability etiquette training, and additional relevant training requested by the business. The business can decide what their needs are and how CPAP staff can help them meet those needs.
And like you say, very often, most of the time, an accommodation isn't even needed. And like we've discussed, very frequently, businesses have individuals with disabilities and they don't even know it, and they're successfully doing the jobs already. What do you hear from incumbent workers about disclosing they have a disability?
We have found employees have different comfort levels regarding disclosing their disability. If the incumbent worker has a physical disability, they feel like it's more accepted or will be more accepted by the employer, or possibly even a learning disability being more accepting. So they're more prone to disclose those disabilities to an employer. If the employee has a mental health diagnosis, and even though they are on medication and are performing the job duties well, maybe even exceeding it compared to most of their counterparts that are doing the same job, they're still hesitant sometimes to disclose that disability to their employer. It is not so much disclosing to their employer, but sometimes employees are concerned the information may inadvertently be shared with about their disability to coworkers.
Yeah, and that's a stigma that we need to work on getting through and making people comfortable about sharing their status. If a business does want to begin upskilling their incumbent workers with disabilities, how might they approach that?
Well, I hope they do contact us. They will want to talk with recently appointed CPAP project director, Mary Kunes-Neary. Mary is very familiar with the grant because she worked with the previous grant that just ended in June. I'm going to turn this over to Mary so she can tell you how to contact her and what steps businesses need to take to begin working with her and her staff.
Great. Thank you, Janet. I did enjoy working with the first CPAP grant, and I'm looking forward to working with businesses and incumbent workers again as the project director for the Career Pathways Advancement Project 2.0 grant. We do have a staff that cover the state of Nebraska, but 2 staff specifically work with businesses to upskill their incumbent workers and help that same business backfill the position vacated due to the advancement. So please reach out to me if you would like the CPAP staff and I to contact you regarding working together to advance your employees.